We're going to look at some transfer rumors that have been floating around the world, and who better to have than Gab Marcotti. Gab, appreciate you taking the time for joining us. Over the last, I'd say, 72 hours, we've seen some interesting rumors regarding Major League Soccer and a couple players in Balotelli and Pastore. What have you heard regarding those reports?
Well, I think it's very obvious both those players will be available in the summer. So with Mario Balotelli, he had some run-ins with the club. There was a suggestion, he's at Brescia now, there's a suggestion that his contract might be canceled. The reality is they don't really need to cancel his contract because he's going to become a free agent if they get relegated. And right now, you know, it would take an act of God for Brescia to avoid relegation. So it's the old story that, you know, if you can get him at the right club and you can get him motivated and happy and create the right environment around him, then, you know, maybe he can go back to be the player we thought he was going to be 10 years ago. If you can't, then you got yourself a problem.
And then Pastore, do you think there's real viable solution for him in Major League Soccer? Or do you think it's just a typical agent creating rumors to try to create some interest?
The thing with Pastore is, I mean, Roma brought him in, and you know he was on a hefty salary at Paris Saint-Germain. He's a very, very skillful player on his day, but you know, time passes for everybody. He's had his injuries. Again, I think the only way somebody like Pastore would accept a move, and remember he's still under contract, would be something where, you know, I think MLS would have to take him for a very small transfer fee or indeed as on a free, and he would need to get, I think, a long-term contract in exchange for less money. Personally, I'm not sure there's value unless you got a manager who says, look, I know him, I've worked with him, I can make this happen. He is a transformational player if you can get the best Pastore.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Let's look at the global pandemic, Ab, and just the impact on the transfer market. And Major League Soccer before the pandemic had a real mantra of saying, you know what, we don't want to be a retirement league any longer. Now, you know better than anyone. There's Zlatans, the Drogbas, the Rooneys, the Ronaldos, the Messis of the world. They're in their own category. Is this pandemic going to have any impact on those European players coming over here, you think?
So obviously everybody's taking a hit financially, right? So there's less money out there. But the contracts that are there are still there. So it's more difficult to go and shift players because you have to go and find a match. And already there was an environment where it was very polarized with 8 or 10 clubs being able to outspend everybody. I think if it's a case where everybody has less money, you know, it's going to kind of affect everybody equally, if you see what I'm saying. Yeah. I think MLS will still continue to appeal to a certain type of player who can seize the potential for the game in the U.S. But it's not a move that you're going to make to become famous, unless you're already famous. And it's not a move that, you know, you're going to necessarily make even really as a stepping stone, at least from Europe. From South America, it might be different. In fact, probably is different. But I think at this time, they're just not there yet. The quality of the player that MLS would want to bring in, I think we'll still find more lucrative options in Europe.
Especially, Gab, because of the World Cup qualifying European championships and then the World Cup following year. It's going to be difficult to find that player in its prime. Gab, I appreciate you taking the time today, and good seeing your face, my friend.
My pleasure.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.